If you've lived in California in 2017, you've probably seen a big streak of light shoot across the sky at one point. That would have been this rocket, SpaceX's Falcon 9. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, launched the company in 2002 and has since been developing different reusable orbital rockets such as the Falcon Heavy, launched in 2017. These technological developments have provided plenty of information in relation to space travel, but projects like these require lots of money. Out of all the investors and supporters of these projects, the US government seems to be the most generous. But is it worth it to invest in space travel? President Eisenhower established the National Aeronautics and Space Act in 1958 to not only create NASA, but to provide for research into the problems of flight within and outside the Earth's atmosphere, and for other purposes. Now, the reason for this was to create a satellite to gather data from Earth, and around the same time, the USSR decided to create their own satellites to challenge the US. 4 years later, in 1961, Alan Shepard became the first American in space, following Yuri Gagarin, the first human being ever to be in space. Since then, space exploration for many people have set a goal to explore the unknown in outer space. However, space exploration required the assistance of investors and supporters to help back their expensive projects. The US government would be considered as one of these people, funding projects from NASA and other private companies. Yet, these actions seem to be a controversial matter. The fact that the US is spending their large budget on something seemingly unnecessary seems to get people upset that the money isn't being spent towards something else. An article by Cassidy C. Neville of the FEE titled "NASA Shouldn't Be Funded by the Government" expresses Neville's views that money shouldn't be used for exploration due to unintended consequences, and should instead be allocated to other valuable resources like humanitarian efforts. While this may be true in that the government does not provide for smaller incidences, in 2017 the national government had spent 28% of their federal budget on Medicare and health, totaling $1.17 trillion, and 15% on military and defense. With NASA, only $19.2 billion was used. NASA chief historian Stephen J. Dick states in his article The Importance of Exploration that there is a temptation when sacrificing long-term goals for short-term needs, and quoted author H.G. Wells for saying, "Human history becomes more and more a race between education and catastrophe." This is in relation to the Apollo program being created due to the competition between the USSR and the US during the Cold War. Dick discusses on NASA's website that there are many ways that our nation could benefit from space exploration. There's actually a 26-page pamphlet by a group of NASA employees that support space exploration that states every single reason why space exploration is beneficial. That's a pretty long list. The purpose of these missions is to explore the unknown, explore a place that we as humans have never gone before. These exploration missions, such as the Apollo program or the Hubble Space Telescope launch, are used to inform Earth about new environmental and astronomical discoveries that can only be found through space exploration. More specifically, these explorations can answer unknown questions such as the origin of materials or the habitual capabilities of other planets such as Mars. It's through these explorations that we as humans get to discover new ways of human life and opportunities to push our limits outside of the atmosphere. Multiple private companies who have also received funding from the US government, such as Boeing and SpaceX, have released new technologies that are capable of doing more than NASA, yet still serving the same purpose. SpaceX has received an achievement for being the first company to launch an object into the sun's orbit. Boeing's Starliner had a similar purpose, planning on taking people up to space while using their shuttle. With a specific purpose, government funding for aeronautics isn't a waste, but a smart investment. The information produced by these companies can be used for educational, scientific, or business opportunities. Schools can learn more about the world above them, scientists could benefit from new discoveries made by NASA, and new businesses can be built around space exploration itself. Everyone can seem to benefit from the knowledge that these missions supply. The longer development is, the closer we are to leaving the stratosphere.